Hey, it's Maximo and welcome to Maximo's Travels. We spent just over 24 hours in Anchorage in Alaska. In this video, we'll explore the sights and sounds and foods that we had in our whirlwind stop at Anchorage. We attend a weekend market. We find a couple of great restaurants to have lunch and dinner. We stay at the most affordable yet decent hotel that we can find on the outskirts of downtown. Spend some time at the world's busiest seaplane airport. Head to the Ted Stevens International Airport and take a flight on Alaskan Airlines to our next destination, Hawaii. Join me as I explore the final 2 days in Alaska. We'd arrived from Whittier via train to Anchorage in late morning. We couldn't check in until 3 p.m, so we decided to have a walk around downtown Anchorage. The downtown area isn't that big. Nice wide streets and very clean, but most of the buildings were low-rise with several 10 to 12-story hotels and office buildings. We arrived on a Sunday morning and the Anchorage market was open. It's open from mid-May all the way through to September. It wasn't very big as far as markets go, but then again neither is Anchorage. It did showcase some of the local foods, arts and crafts, and some interesting characters, that's for sure. It was lunchtime, but there didn't look like there were many vegetarian options for Jo. I didn't think she'd fancy eating reindeer tacos, so we looked around for a place to eat for lunch. I would have liked to have tried the whiskey and ramen restaurant, but sadly it was closed. Instead we went to a Mexican restaurant. It looked quite nice and funky. It looked like a really big restaurant with a really funky vibe. There weren't that many customers, but it was Sunday early afternoon. We both ordered a couple of local Alaskan IPAs, which were very nice and icy cold, and I ordered half a dozen oysters and some nachos. Jo ordered a couple of the tacos. The food was very nice. The oysters were particularly fresh, and the food was both nice, delicious, and reasonably affordable. It was a very pleasant experience. I'd recommend Tequila 61 Mexican Gastro Bar highly. We had a little bit of a walk through the rest of Anchorage, and then it was time to go to the hotel. We walked back to the convention center and picked up our bags from the bowels of the place. It was very well organized. If you're interested in viewing the trip from Whittier to Anchorage via the cruise train, please check my previous week's video. We got in an Uber and went to our hotel, the Holiday Inn Express. This is located near the airport. It was around about 3.6 miles and a 10-minute Uber ride from the convention center. This is located right near the international airport. We were staying here because the hotel prices downtown were ridiculously expensive, approaching $1,000 Australian per night for fairly basic accommodation. I will do a review of this hotel in an upcoming video very shortly. We checked in and both Jo and I settled in for a nice afternoon nap of at least a couple of hours. We'd been on the go since before 5 a.m. that day. We ventured out for dinner. There were a number of restaurants and eateries within an easy walking distance a couple of hundred yards away from the hotel, including a Wendy's. We decided to go to a restaurant called Chopped and Chowdered. It was very, very busy and we had to wait about 20 minutes to find a seat. Believe it or not, that is a gluten-free Wagyu burger. quick. Oh, there's Wagyu under that lettuce. And what have you got there, Joe?
Big salad.
It's a huge avocado salad. Well, enjoy. The food was good, but the service was slow and it was quite expensive. We paid around $100 US for those 2 meals, as well as a couple of drinks each. We also tried the teppanyaki restaurant the next day for lunch, and well, that was fairly forgettable. It wasn't much more than a takeaway cafe, really.
Early the next morning,
we had a nice sleep in and had quite a few hours to kill because our next flight from Anchorage to Honolulu was to depart at 6 p.m. that night. We had the option of catching public transport or an Uber to downtown and getting on the hop-on, hop-off bus to explore some of Anchorage, but we were both feeling quite weary, so we decided to have a walk around the local neighborhood instead. We decided to walk to Lake Splenard and Lake Hood. Lake Hood is the world's busiest seaplane airport. It has around 190 aircraft movements on average per day, and it's adjacent to and nestles right around the Ted Stevens International Airport. Apart from the noisy planes, it was quite a tranquil place to spend an hour or so just admiring the seaplanes taking off and landing. Over 1,000 seaplanes are based around the banks of this lake. I think I got my yearly fix of plane spotting at this lake. There were quite a few people here as well, enjoying the low 20s Alaskan summer sun. We finished up at the lake and walked back to the teppanyaki restaurant for a late lunch. As I said, it was a fairly unforgettable meal. We checked out of our hotel and used the hotel's complimentary minibus service to drive us the couple of miles to the Ted Stevens International Airport. Considering the size of the city, the airport was quite new and modern and had surprisingly good features, including cafes and coffee shops either side of the customs area. They even had stuffed animals on display, including a very frightening looking grizzly bear. We'd only spent the one night in Anchorage, and that was probably enough. There's not a hell of a lot to do there, but it is considered the gateway to the rest of Alaska. And the nearest international airports are Whittier, the disembarkation and embarkation point for a lot of the Alaskan cruises. We had a couple of hours to kill, so I had an early dinner of sushi, which is really fantastic. We were going to board the Alaskan Airlines flight from Anchorage to Honolulu. If you're interested in that flight review, please check out my airline review playlist for that flight review, plus many others. I was really looking forward to spending some time in Hawaii. Whilst Joe had been before, it was to be my first time. You can look out for those videos in the coming weeks. I was able to get a window seat and have the last few glimpses of the Alaskan wilderness. I do hope you liked this video. If so, please hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that notify bell so you'll never miss another upcoming video. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying me a coffee or smashing that super thanks button. And look out for my upcoming videos from Hawaii. Until next time, you take care and bye now.